All right, good morning. How's it going? Today I have a DIY video for you. I am sitting on the floor. Gwen. Hey, baby girl. I'm sitting on the floor where I have everything laid out. I'll explain to you guys in just a second why it looks weird. I don't think I quite planned the filming of this quite well. I apologize. It's like my first DIY video and it's definitely a different kind of format. There's gonna be a lot of like little clips and stuff as we go through this process. And I kind of have this thing when I'm working on these projects is like I want to start them, I want to get them done, I want to see them through, and I kind of like zone out of everything else going on and I just start working and I forget to take water breaks, I forget to take lunch breaks, like I just go. And it's kind of nice to get into that space and everything, but it's definitely gonna be something I'm gonna have to work with, trying to do progress updates or set up the camera so I can film the process. So I wanted to have a before and after. So I wanted to have a nice before like showcase of the set beforehand, but it's already been pulled apart. I did this last night where I had a lot of things I was juggling yesterday and a lot of things I was trying to tick off my to-do list, and I just started moving the furniture around and pulled out the canvas and started prepping for painting. I am doing this project inside the house instead of lugging it all out to the garage. In order to get the table out, I would probably have to take the legs off. I don't want to have to do that. So before we get started, I did want to kind of give you some history of this table set. When we moved to Florida, we actually, for the first time, had like a space to put a dining room table. So we found someone giving away this set for free. They put it out on the curb. So we went and picked it up, but it was quite damaged on the curb. It originally had this very dark, almost black, like cherry wood color, very like glossy lacquer finish to it. But the tabletop was really damaged. It's like someone had spilled some chemicals and like ate through the finish and everything. And they must have also used it as like an art table. I took it home and I sanded it completely down. And it was my intention to like do a stained wood on the top and then do like that powdery white chalky finish on the legs. But as I sanded down the top, to my dismay, I figured out it was not real wood. It's this really weird, I don't think it's MDF. I think it's more like a hardy board. So it's very cardboardy material underneath, and it's not going to take the stain. Like it's not. So painting it was. Now, when it comes to the chalk paint is very expensive. And I have my limits. I didn't want to invest a whole lot of money into it. I have never done anything like this before. I didn't know the process. So I looked up how to make my own chalk paint. It seemed pretty straightforward. You just mix plaster of Paris into another paint. And I think the original tutorial did not say anything like you couldn't use latex paint. In fact, maybe I saw one where you could use latex paint. I'm not sure. Either way, I just used your interior wall paint, a latex paint, and it worked really well. Like you definitely got that chalky, powdery finish. However, instead of using a wax, I used like a polycrylic finish because I have kids. Like I really needed something that was going to hold up against the kids spilling stuff on it, banging things on it and stuff like that. Like we definitely had to prioritize durability, and unfortunately it yellowed the top. So I actually didn't notice it yellowed it until it was sitting in the living room for a while and the sun was reflecting through the windows on it, and then it kind of yellowed. And I don't remember actually which product I used, but it doesn't really matter. That's in the past. So then we moved here and it definitely needed a fresh coat of paint. It was looking pretty dingy. It had that yellowing top to it. And plus it's just been kind of banged around since moving. So when we moved here, instead of doing the entire process like I had before with like making my own chalk paint and lots of hours of sand. And I just got like a creamy white latex paint. I knew it was probably gonna yellow. And at this time, I was already kind of considering maybe going with a color change, but I just wasn't sure how it would match with everything. So I was kind of nervous about it. And then our new kitchen has white cabinets. So I thought, well, maybe it needs to match. So, cause I figured once I put the top coat on it, if it was gonna yellow, like we'll lean into it and we'll make it look kind of vintage. However, it yellowed in a completely different pattern. It's very like, it did not come out very well at all. So we've been living with it like this since we moved in, so a little bit over a year now. And now I just want to do a complete color change. So my intention is something like this, like a faux wood paint look to it, to the top, and then do the legs and like the backs of the chairs and the legs of the chairs with black. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this here. We're going to switch over so I can kind of show you some of the products that I got, the colors that I got, and we'll get into the process I'm taking. Last night I did go ahead and put the primer on, so I didn't really do any sanding. Instead of doing all the sanding process like I did before, I'm just gonna be using the primer. It should be plenty to make sure the paint sticks and doesn't chip off. I just did one thin layer, but I did end up using a chip brush. This is what I used. I used a different brush that's out in the garage, but I used a smaller chip brush. These are basically disposable. They are very cheap. The bristles do come out. I noticed, let me see. Okay. Looks like I got some of them out on the table, but sometimes the bristles will come out and get stuck in the paint. Plus there is just like sometimes like a fine powder or dust, like a grit, like a fine grit after painting. So I'm going to take a sanding block. This is kind of got a, it's not quite a polisher. I also have a polisher which is almost smooth. It's hard to believe that this is even a sander. This is your very end finishing sander, but this has a little bit of a grit to it. Basically, you don't want to take paint off. You just want to get rid of that fine grit and any other, like, you want to get the smoothest surface you possibly can. And so that's really the goal here. For the legs, this is Velspar paint from Lowe's in dark kettle black. I'm so bad at explaining products. While I am working, I'm going to be watching some Vampire Diaries. All right, I'm really excited about this part. This is my favorite part. I hate all the prep work, even though it's necessary. But here we go, we're gonna put the dark color on. Of course, you won't get the full effect until it's like dried completely, but like, all right, here we go. I'm also not taping off. I'm pretty decent at just edging it up, and plus it's underneath, so if it's a little sloppy, no one's gonna see it. I don't care. By the way, I'm probably not the best person to do these DIY videos because literally I don't care about a lot of these little, very meticulous things because it's just for us. So, anyways. It's gonna be kind of streaky, We're definitely gonna have to put like 2, perhaps 3 coats. You can kind of see through it, so. All right. Obviously, I just went with a really thin layer, but it's coming along. I have these 2 done. With the first layer, oh, I still have to finish that. With the first layer, I'm gonna go do the first layer on that and then probably take a really nice break. Okay, it is 1:30 and I have the second coat done on this. The problem with legs, I swear, is like, I have a system where I start at one end and I go around, and I swear I still forget like the insides of legs and stuff. So that's where we're at. This actually might be enough brown paint because I don't know if you, 2 coats and I used that much of the black paint. So maybe. Now I'm not 100% sure how to do this next step. I think because especially on this is such a wide surface. I saw one person take like drops of different colors that they were using to get their effect and just kind of do drizzles everywhere, and then they smoothed it out really thin with the brush. So I think I'm gonna try that method, but I am gonna start small and then work, and I'm gonna start from the center and work my way out. So let's see how that goes. The method of drizzling the paint like this was not a good method at all. It just kind of got really thick in those areas and wouldn't spread out very well. The paint alone also is just thick, so trying to dry brush it on like that was, it just was really sticky, so it wasn't wanting to spread out very well. So I eventually added water by just pouring it into the middle. I started to kind of panic and I was like, oh my God, this is not turning out. So I just took a tiny bit of water and poured it right in the center just to see how that would work. And it definitely worked, but then it became too much water at once and just kind of got really messy and kind of pooled in weird areas. It's looking weird. So then I had to follow it up with a paper towel and kind of mop it up. Finally, I went ahead and put the paint in like a plate and add a little bit of water on the side and just kind of mixed it like a watercolor or any other paint that you would mix with water, and kind of varied it up. Sometimes I'd have a little bit more water to go with a lighter brown, and then as I would be adding the layers on to the top, I'd add a little bit less water so you get more variation of strokes, and that seemed to work out really well. So we're definitely getting more of that kind of woody texture. So now I'm just gonna keep going over it until I get it as smooth as possible. This is a very large surface. I saw someone do it on like a cabinet door, and it just seems like with a smaller space, you can do one swipe across, and that's kind of what I'm finding as a problem, because like, as you can see, like right here, that's where the end of the bristle, like when I would lift the brush, it's kind of leaving that swirly texture where it lifts the brush. So I'm gonna kind of have to go over that and smooth it out. That's what I'm working with right now. Okay, I got scared there for a minute that it was not working out at all. Mixing with the water really helped, and doing little bits at a time and just kind of reworking it seemed to really kind of help even it out. There is like one spot right here where it looks like the water, when I poured the water on at first, it kind of pooled, and so I've been trying to layer it up to smooth it out a little bit. But also these ends, so these cap ends along the sides, I went along with the grain, so that was easy, but the ends were really hard to do, and you can kind of see how the brush marks from the top kind of come down going in the opposite direction on the ends. And there is a way around that. You can tape it off and do it separately once it dries, but I just decided not to care. So I don't think it's super noticeable. I don't think that anyone except for me is going to notice it since I'm the one that did it. And that's what matters. So since it worked out, and look, this uses like, this thing's like still virtually full, and I did that whole table. So I will absolutely be able to do all of the pieces. So that's excellent.
Yeah. Very hard to come by. You know when you do that? Anyways, it's Swifty Swift, right? Yes. My friend here is a vampire. He's compatible in the bar, so don't look at him for any help. I'm something else. A different kind of monster. I've got something. You can't compel me, it won't work. These guys on the rocks, please. Tell you what, Ray, we're gonna play a little drinking game. Something like the cloth of truth or wolf's bane. Well, this is gonna be fun, right?
All right, it is 3:56 and my kids should be home very shortly, and I am finished, basically. Not 100%. I'm just waiting. Obviously the faux wood texture is done on all of the pieces, and I'm just waiting for the polycrylic to dry. I've done one coat of that, but I think I'm gonna do probably leaning towards 3 just because of high traffic areas. So, but yeah, they came out so good. I am so pleased and impressed, like how nice it looks. So good evening. It is about 6:30 now in the day, and I have finished the project. I'm sitting here at the table now, but I took some after pictures like that, so I'll add those here. I guess I just wanted to close out this video. I ended up finishing the project probably right before 4 o'clock. My kids usually come home at 4 o'clock, so that's always like my time frame. So it ended up being like the perfect amount of time to like do while the kids were at school, and then when they came home to a new table. The reaction my son Aaron gave was the best. He comes in, he goes, I was like, yeah, did you see the table? He goes, wow, it looks so good. Yeah, oops, I see some fingerprints. Yeah, so we went ahead and moved all the furniture kind of back where it goes in the dining room. However, I don't feel like it's fully cured. It doesn't necessarily feel tacky, but it doesn't quite, it feels like it could be dented very easily. So I'm trying to, I'm not allowing anyone to sit on it for, I guess 24 hours is probably a good time. Polyacrylic on top is also dry to the touch. It doesn't feel tacky or anything like that, but I'm gonna give it overnight, also because of time. I'm gonna give it overnight to fully dry it, and then I think tomorrow I'm probably gonna do another coat in the morning and then another coat in the afternoon. Just a couple extra coats for the extra durability on the surfaces. Oh, on some of the, I did notice on one of the backs of the chairs, it kind of was, there's a spot where the brown didn't get as dark, and it kind of stands out. So I'm probably gonna go over that as well and kind of finish that out. Yeah, other than that, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Like, this probably is not the most ideal way to film this project. It's just, I was doing this project now. This is kind of a new thing. So when it comes to future projects, I hope that I get a bit better at filming them. I haven't even gone in to like start editing this video yet. So we'll see how clear it is. If it's not, please feel free to ask any questions. It will also help me kind of figure out where I need to make improvements in the filming process so I can make these videos better. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.